So now that I have finally finished reviewing all of the Broadway soundtracks that are eligible for Tony Awards to you, it is now time for me to start my video where I talk about the nominations for Tony Awards and what I think should win. Now, I will say this right now. What I want to win is not necessarily what might not win. For me, I'm pretty much Fun Home Everything. When it comes to musicals, I'm Fun Home Everything. I pretty much just want Fun Home to win everything that they have, but they might not win. So I'm going to talk about what should win, but what probably will win. I'll definitely, do that because I think not necessarily what you want to win is what's going to win. I think that's always how it's going to be, and definitely I think that's something that. And I'm gonna go from very small categories to very big categories. So like best musical, that's gonna be like the last category I talk about. So we'll get into that. Also for plays, I can't really say too much about them, but I'm gonna try my best to talk about what seems to be the popular vote because I haven't seen these plays. But for musicals, I've listened to the soundtrack at least, so I do have an idea of what I want to win, definitely. So let's just get into it because there definitely is a lot. Again, I'm pretty much Fun Home Everything, but there are other things that I'd like some other shows to win. First of all, we have Best Orchestrations, which I'm just going to nominate the shows here. I'm not going to talk about the people. We have An American in Paris. We have Fun Home. We have Something Rotten. And we have The Last Ship. All the same ones nominated for, I believe, Best Original Score, which I will talk about. Um, I would say Fun Home, but I want them to win everything. So I'm going to give this to An American in Paris. I mean, American in Paris, listen to just the scores. Don't listen to the singers. Listen to just the orchestra. They are on point with this show. They sound amazing. The songs sound amazing. I mean, I listen to the orchestration just to hear the amazing orchestra. Honestly, it's a beautiful orchestrations. I think they do a fantastic job with this. And I think in American in Paris, if there's anything I want to win, it's Best Orchestrations. Really, it is. I think they really do deserve it, and I love for them to win Best Orchestrations. Definitely, I think right off the bat they should win that. So yeah, that's definitely something I think they should win. Now, best choreography. I haven't seen the choreography in the shows, but I have briefly, like on websites and things like that. For me, we have Joshua Burgess for On the Town, Christopher Gattoletti for The King and I, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which is really cool that there was a play that has choreography, and I'll definitely talk about that when we get to best play. Something Rotten, and An American in Paris. Now, for me personally, I'm pretty sure that An American in Paris is going to take it. I'd really like to see On the Town get. I don't think On the Town's going to get a lot. I think On the Town's going to be very unrecognized. So I'm pretty sure that I'd really like to see On the Town get. I'm pretty sure this is going to go into American in Paris, but On the Town is personally what I think should get, just because it's not going to get anything else. And it's a really good show. It definitely was a very good revival, and I think they definitely did a very good job with reviving the story. And they didn't do anything new. They just told the story like it should be told, and I think it was really good they did that. And I think for their sake, they definitely should win it. That's personally how I feel with that. But you guys may feel differently, but personally, I just feel like they need to win something, so they might as well win that. That's just how I feel, at least. So yeah, that's personally how I feel about that one. Um, Again, with these nominations, though, I will say this: it's pretty much eye of the beholder. Like it really is. I mean, whatever you guys want to win, that might not necessarily be what I want to win, but that's personally how I feel about this. So, best direction of a musical. Right away, we get to the big categories. Best direction of a musical. We have Sam Gold for Fun Home, Casey Nicola for Something Rotten, John Randall for On the Town, and Bartlett Shear for The King and I. Now, do I even need, and also Christopher Wheeldon for An American in Paris. Do I even need to tell you what I want to win? Obviously, I want Sam Gold to win for Fun Home. I mean, come on. The man made me cry through a soundtrack. Like, seriously. That's how, like, seriously. This guy made a musical, gave me a musical where I almost cried through a soundtrack, and that's not easy to do. And plus, many people said Fun Home was an unstageable, novel, an unstageable graphic novel. It pretty much had to stay as a comic, but you couldn't do it as a musical. But of course, it's gotten all this big buzz, and it's one of the most heartfelt things I think you could ever see. Personally, probably the most effective Broadway show I've ever heard of, probably. It's Fun Home, and I think definitely for that, he needs to win it. He totally deserves it, and I think definitely Sam Gold is going to get it. I think he is a dead... I think this is pretty much just a lock-in. I'm pretty sure that he's going to get it no matter what. Sam Gold for Fun Home. I definitely think he's going to get it. He definitely deserves it, and if he doesn't get it, who else I would want to win? I would have to say that I would love to see Bartlett Shear one for the King and I, and that's because he didn't do anything different. He just told the story like it is, and they're in Lincoln Center here. I didn't talk about that in the soundtrack, but they're in Lincoln Center, and it's not a very big stage. There are 50 people on that stage, and it really shows what Lincoln Center can do, and it's awesome that they did that just in Lincoln Center. I think that's awesome they did that. So Fun Home definitely, but if not, then the King and I definitely would love to see that one. So best direction of a play, we have Stephen Daldry for Skylight. We have Marianne Elliott for The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. Scott Ellis for You Can't Take It With You. Jeremy Heron for Wolf Hall Parts 1 2. And Moritz von Stulpenagel for Hand of God. Now, personally, I actually have done some research about some of the plays this year, which is actually really good because most times I know nothing about them. At least the 4 major categories, I do have an idea of what they're about. So I personally would like to see Moritz von Stulpenagel win for Hand of God. That's because I don't think it's going to win a lot of stuff. Plus, it's such a different show. I mean, if you don't know what the show is about, it's about this boy who has like this puppet basically like controlling him. And I think that's really interesting the way they do that. I mean, I haven't really seen a show like that, so I think that's really cool. I definitely would like to see it win, but definitely I think Marianne Elliott for The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime is going to get it. I'll talk about why when we get to Best Play, but I definitely think she's going to get it. But I honestly would like to see Hand of God win. I really would. Either one I'd be fine with, but most likely it's going to be Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, but I personally want to see Hand of God. I really would. I'd love to see that get some love, but we'll see what happens there. Next up, we have Best Lighting Design. Now, I really can't talk about it because obviously I didn't see these musicals in person. I just listened to the soundtracks, so I can't really talk about Best Lighting Design. I'm just going to randomly pick Fun Home just off the bat because I want Fun Home everything. Plus, it's on the floor, and it's like the most intimate thing ever. I mean, it really doesn't get better than that, so I definitely think that Ben Stanton for Fun Home should definitely get it. Moving on, we have Best Lighting Design of a Play. I can't really talk about this, so I'm just probably going to skip this category. I really don't know what to say here. Curious Incident Dog in Nighttime is probably going to get it. I mean, we'll talk about why I think it should get this stuff. Best Costume Design. Here I can talk about stuff because I've actually seen the costumes from, pictures and things like that. We have Greg Barnes for Something Rotten, Ben Crowley for An American in Paris, William Ivey Long for On the 20th Century, and Catherine Zuber for The King and I. For me, personally, definitely Something Rotten. Something Rotten's costumes are unbelievable. I mean, just look at them. And we're talking about a show that's extremely modern, and here's the thing. If you go on any, rehearsal footage, you will see they're not in costumes yet, and it's understandable why. I mean, those things are probably really expensive, and they probably didn't want them to do anything to them, so they probably only wear them for the performances. I don't think they wore them in rehearsal. I don't think they ever actually had a dress rehearsal, probably because it was just so hard for them to move in those costumes. I mean, those costumes are just incredible. When you look at them, they're incredible to look at, and I think that Greg Barnes definitely should get it for Best Costume Design of a Musical for Something Rotten. He definitely does deserve it, and I think he did a fantastic job with that, so I definitely think that they should get it. Best Costume Design of a Play, Ben Crowley for The Audience, Jane Greenwood for You Can't Take It With You, Christopher Oram for Wolf Hall Parts 1 and 2, David Zinn for Airline Highway. So, me personally, I think I don't really know here, but I think definitely Christopher Oram for Wolf Hall Parts 1 and 2. I mean, they count as 2 separate shows, so I think is really cool. Something I think that's going to get it. We'll see what happens, though. I personally think, though, that they should get it. Best Scenic Design, I can't talk about it. I haven't seen these sets, so I'm not even going to talk about Best Scenic Design because I can't really talk about it, so I just can't. So now we're going to get into the really big categories, and let me just say, for actor and actress, it's a really tight race this year. I mean, there are many categories where, many instances as well, where the same show is nominated for in the same category, which is really, really good for them, but it also is a very tight race. So I'm going to say that right off the bat. So first of all, we have Best Performance by an Actress in a Feature Role in a Musical. We have Victoria Clark for Gigi. We have Judy Kuhn for Fun Home. Sydney Lucas for Fun Home. Emily Skeggs for Fun Home. And Ruthie M. Miles for The King and I. Yes, we have 3 people nominated for Fun Home. Personally, I think Sydney Lucas should get this. I mean, she's a 9-year-old girl, and she's singing about having thoughts of becoming a lesbian. It's not easy to sing about that when you're 9 years old and you have no experience with that. And the thing is, she's not just singing it. She understands the character. She understands what she's singing about. You can see it from her expressions. She's not confused. She knows what she's singing about. She knows the story. And that's a 9-year-old girl who probably would be very confused, definitely. at what most of the material is, but Sydney Lucas is so good at it, and I think definitely she should win it. However, Judy Kuhn is also nominated. I've heard she is amazing in the show as well, and definitely she does deserve it. I mean, that Days and Days, just for that alone, she should get it, definitely. But Sydney Lucas, I think, is the one that should get it. But many people have said that they could just split the vote and it could be very, very even, which I could definitely see. I mean, Emily Skaggs, hello, we can't forget her. She does an amazing job as well. So if neither of them get it, I think it's going to go to Ruthie Ann Miles for The King and I, which honestly I would be fine with. She sings the hell out of that song. I mean, she does a great job in that performance, and it's time she gets some love, definitely. I mean, she was fantastic in Here Lies Love, and it's time that she does get some love. I think it's great that she got nominated, so they could, as I said, they could end up splitting the vote. I personally would like Sydney Lucas, but I'd be fine with Ruthie Ann Miles, really. Victoria Clark, I'm sorry, this is not Victoria Clark's year. I wish that she was nominated for more. I wish that Gigi in general was nominated for more, because it's a great revival, but the show's just so good this year that she can't win, unfortunately. So, someone from Fun Home or Ruthie Ann Miles, I think that's who's going to win. And so we'll see what happens there. So best performance by an actor in a feature role in a musical. Again, we have this problem. We have two people nominated from the same show in this category. Christian Borle for Something Rotten. Andy Karl for On the 20th Century. Brad Oscar for Something Rotten. Brandon Uranowitz for An American in Paris. And Max von Essen for An American in Paris. Now, personally, I think Christian Borle should get this. I mean, he is just owning that character of William Shakespeare. Mind you, he is the only person in that cast to actually put on an accent. The only person that I think, is recognized. I think he's the only character that actually, is just, he's owning the character, and he's the only actual character in the show. The other characters are just figments, but Brad Oscar also has a very good chance to win. I mean, that number of musical, you can't forget, it's the highlight of the show. It really is. I mean, they parody musicals. The choreography is fantastic. I mean, definitely I think that Brad Oscar has a very good chance of winning. So what some people have said is that, again, just like Fun Home, they might split the vote between Christian Borle and Brad Oscar. Sorry, An American in Paris, that they're not going to win that, really. I mean, those two guys are great, but the only reason that they're nominated is because they have such good chemistry with Robert Fairchild. That's really why they're nominated. A lot of people have said Andy Karl is the standout for this, and I could definitely see it. I mean, he's very funny in the show. I think he definitely has a very good chance of winning. Me, personally, I'd love to see Christian Borle win. I mean, I've listened to his two songs, Willpower and Hard to Be the Bard. By far, some of the best songs in the show. They're some of the biggest highlights in the show. But Brad Oscar as well. I mean, he has the standout number of the show. You can't just forget Brad Oscar, really. So they could end up splitting the vote, or they could be a tie. I could definitely see a tie happening here. I'd love to see a tie happen. That could be really cool. If Christian Borle and Brad Oscar both won for Something Rotten, that'd be awesome. Just like if basically Judy Kuhn and Sydney Lucas won for Fun Home. That'd be just as cool. So if that happened, I would definitely enjoy that. I don't know if they'll do that. If they will do a tie, that could definitely happen. Me personally, I think Christian Borle is more deserving, but Brad Oscar also is just as deserving. We'll see what happens there, really. But really for this, I would love to see Christian Borle, Brad Oscar, or Andy Karl win. So that's really what I think for Best Performance by an Actor in a Feature Role in a Musical. Again, we get a new category that I can't really talk much about. Best Performance by an Actress in a Feature Role in the Play. We have Annaleigh Ashford. Now, again, I haven't seen these plays, so I can't really talk about them. So I'm going to talk about who I've heard the standout is. Annaleigh Ashford for You Can't Take It With You, Patricia Clarkson for The Elephant Man, Lydia Leonard for Wolf Hall Parts 1 and 2, Sarah Stiles for Hand of God, and Julia White for Airline Highway. I've heard most people say that Annaleigh Ashford should get it, and here's why. You Can't Take It With You has a huge celebrity cast, and apparently Annaleigh Ashford steals the show, which I think is really cool if she does that. And I think it was a missed opportunity that she didn't win that Tony 2 years ago for Kinky Boots. I still think she should have gotten it. I really do, and I wish she would have gotten it. But I don't remember who got it that year. I really don't remember who had gotten it. I believe it was Andrea Miller for whoever that girl, whatever her name is, from Andrea Martin for Pippin. But she definitely was she was nominated. She deserved to be nominated. I think it was a missed opportunity for her not to win that, and she should have. But Annaleigh Ashford, I think she's going to win it for this. I think it's going to make up for that. I definitely feel like she deserves it, and she's hilarious. She's always had this charm on Broadway, and I think she's one of those, like, stars that I don't really think has ever gotten to shine. I think finally here, she's going to get her chance to finally shine. She's finally going to get that Tony, and I really hope that does happen for her. That's going to be awesome to see if that does happen, but we'll have to see what happens with that one, I guess. Now the next category, I don't know who to talk about because I don't know who the standout is here. Best performance by an actor in a feature role in the play: Matthew Beard for Skylight, K. Todd Freeman for Airline Highway, Richard McCabe for The Audience, Alessandro Nivolo for The Elephant Man, and Nathaniel Parker for Wolf Horror 1-2, and also Micah Stock for It's Only a Play. Now, I've heard that Micah Stock is the standout for It's Only a Play when you have Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. He really is the standout here. So I definitely feel like he should win that. But maybe some of the other people should win. I'm really not sure of this category. Let me know what you guys think about that one, because I really don't know who should win that one. Again, I haven't seen these plays, so I can't really say who I want to win that. Really, I'm sorry, I can't. I wish I could say that I want this person to win, but I can't say that just because of the fact that I don't really know why they're nominated. I don't know how they are in the show. I don't know any of that stuff, so I can't really say that, unfortunately. I wish I could say more, but I can't. So, now we're going to get to the two categories I definitely do want to talk about. Best Book of a Musical. This one, again, you guys know what I want. Craig Lucas for An American in Paris, Lisa Kron for Fun Home, Carrie Kirkpatrick and John Farrell for Something Rotten, Terrence McNally for The Visit. Definitely Lisa Kron for Fun Home. Again, people said this was an unstageable show. They said that. They said you cannot put this to Broadway. It's not going to work. And what did Lisa Kron do? She not only respected the source material, but also turned it into one of the most beautiful things ever. Honestly, the book is what makes that show so good. Listen to the soundtrack. Don't listen to the songs. Listen to the speaking parts. I mean, just listen to them. There's such amazing dialogue, and it's not just because of how good the actors are, it's just because of how good the dialogue is, and it's such powerful dialogue that they're saying. I think Lisa Kron definitely deserves to be nominated for Fun Home. She deserves to win it. She better win it, and if she doesn't win it, I'm going to be very, very pissed if she doesn't, honestly. That's one of the categories where I will legitimately be pissed if Fun Home does not win for that. Honestly, I will be. So, Lisa Kron better win it. I'm not even saying who is going to win, because Lisa Kron is going to win. I'm sorry. She's going to win. She deserves to win, and she better win it. If she doesn't win it, then I'm going to be very, very pissed. I'm not saying that Something Rotten doesn't deserve it, but that's not something that they deserve. What they might deserve is the next category, Best Original Score. I would say Fun Home deserves this. I definitely would say that. But personally, I want Something Rotten to get this, and I'm going to talk about why. The reason I want Something Rotten to get is because they're not going to get a lot of stuff. Okay, Fun Home is going to basically, I think, take up the majority of the night. I think they're going to take most of the, major categories. I don't think Something Rotten is going to take a lot of them. So, for Something Rotten, I really want them to win Best Original Score. The score is so fun to this show, and it's so epic, and I hate to say the word epic, because that's just like, oh my god, it's epic. You know what I mean. It's awesome. It's so fun to listen to. And you just have this, this is Shakespeare, but they're doing it as like the most modern thing ever, and that's why I think it works as well as it does. That's why I love this show as much as I do. I mean, they don't give a shit. They're just singing the hell out of these songs like they're these modern day songs, but they're in the Victorian, like, Shakespeare time, which I think is hilarious, in the Renaissance period. So I definitely think that Something Ron should get this. Yes, I would love Fun Home to get this. It'd be really great if they did, but I don't want Fun Home to take everything. I want it to be equal somehow. So Something Wrong, I definitely think they should get Best Score. Personally, I do think they should get that, and we'll see what ends up happening. I would really love to see that happen, but we'll see what happens. So now we're going to get to the really big categories. These are the ones where I know you guys want me to talk about them. I know that I have a lot to talk about here, so let's just get into them. First of all, we're going to talk about plays. Best performance by an actor in a leading role in a play. We have Stephen Boyer for Hand to God, Bradley Cooper for The Elephant Man, Ben Miles for Wolf Hall Parts 1 and 2, Bill Nighy for Skylight, Alex Sharp for The Curious Incident of a Dog in the Nighttime. Now, I heard that Alex Sharp not only gives the best performance in this category, but maybe the best performance of the year. I heard he is fantastic in this show. I heard that he totally deserves it, and I would love to see him get it. I mean, I've seen clips of this show. He looks incredible. He really does, and I really would love to see him get it. I think he definitely would. I'd love to see that happen. I think he definitely would deserve it. So best performance by an actress in a leading role to play. Genevieve Carr for Hand to God, Helen Mirren for The Audience, Elizabeth Moss for The Heidi Chronicles, and Carey Mulligan for Skylight, and Ruth Wilson for Constellations. A lot of people from dramas I watch on TV nominated here. We have someone from The Affair, someone from Mad Men. That's really cool that they're doing that. I love that when the celebrities from movies and TV do Broadway. That's something I really love seeing. But For me personally, I think this is going to go to Helen Mirren for the audience. I mean, she really, I mean, here's the thing. She won this for the Oscars. I believe she was nominated for that movie, The Queen. I think she was nominated for that, and I think it would be great to see her get a nomination for this as Queen Elizabeth. She just plays the part perfectly, and I think she definitely deserves to get it for the audience. I'd love to see her get it, and who knows how much longer Helen Mirren's going to be acting. I mean, think about it. She's getting really old. I don't know how old she is. I believe she's in, like, her late 80s, maybe even early 90s. I'm not really sure. But Helen Mirren, I'd love to see her get it for the audience. I think she deserves it, and I'd love to see it happen. That would be awesome if she got it. So personally, Helen Mirren for the audience, I'd love to see it happen. So now we're gonna get into the ones where I can't wait to talk about these nominations. I can't wait to talk about who I want to win, and let's get into them. Those are plays. Now we're gonna get into the musicals, which are huge. Best performance by an actor in a leading role in the musical. We have Michael Cerveris for Fun Home, Robert Fairchild for An American in Paris, Brian Darcy James for Something Rotten, Ken Watanabe for The King and I, and Tony Yazbek for the On the Town. Every person in this category is deserving, but Michael Cerveris, holy shit! I mean, he made me cry. He made me this close to crying on a soundtrack just by singing a song about suicide. I mean, that never happens. I didn't even cry during Javert's suicide in Les Miserables, but I cried during this because it actually happened, and he plays that character perfectly. Look at Michael Cerveris. Look at how he actually looks, and then look at him in Fun Home. He doesn't look like the same man at all. He really doesn't, and he really transformed into this role, and he needs to win it. I'm sorry, he needs to win. I've heard people say Robert Fairchild. Robert Fairchild is fantastic. Michael Cerveris gave one of the best performances I think I've seen in a very long time. He is so good in this show. He's the glue that holds the show together. Had he not been as good, the show would suck, and he's much as important as Allison is, really. That's how big of a character, that's how important he is. He's a very important, Bruce is just important as Allison. That's really how the show works, and his character is just perfect, and just knowing that actually happened, it's tragic, and I definitely think that Michael Cerveris should win, and it'd be awesome if he did win. I'd love to see it happen. I think definitely Michael Cerveris is going to win. I really hope Robert Fairchild doesn't win. I have this gut feeling that he's going to win, and I really don't want that to happen. To be completely honest with you guys, I don't want that to happen. I really would love to see him not win, but we'll see what happens with that. I really feel like he's going to win, but I hope it doesn't happen. I know people are saying it is probably going to happen, but I personally don't want that to happen. We'll see what happens there. All right. Best performance by an actress in a leading role in a musical. We have Kristin Chenoweth for On the 20th Century, Leanne Cope for An American in Paris, Beth Malone for Fun Home, Kelly O'Hara for The King and I, and Chia Rivera for The Visit. Now, again, Beth Malone for Fun Home, by far, I think she should take this. However, I'd really like to see Kristin Chenoweth get, to be completely honest. I think Kristin Chenoweth has a really good shot at winning it. I think that she should. She's the best thing about it on the 20th Century. But Beth Malone, I mean, come on. She got a haircut for that show. Look at how she actually looks. I mean, better yet than that, each girl got a haircut for Fun Home. Those haircuts that you're seeing, those aren't wigs. Those are how they actually look. I mean, look at how Sydney Lucas actually looks. Then look at her in Fun Home. That's how she actually looks now. Emily Skeggs, like, completely, this is how she looks. Like, literally, look at my haircut. That's how she looks right now. Beth Malone as well, completely transformed into the character of Alison Bechdel. And Alison Bechdel said she gave a fantastic portrayal, and I definitely think that Beth Malone should win this. She totally would deserve it. I mean, she just slays this part perfectly. And you don't see Beth Malone, you see Alison Bechdel talking to you, and I think she definitely deserves it. And I'd love to see Beth Malone get it for Fun Home. She totally deserves it, and I really hope she does get, she better get, she better get, really. She deserves it more than anyone, honestly. Please get it. She better get it. I really hope she does, but we'll see what happens there. So now we're going to get into now we're going to get into the last three major categories, which are probably the biggest categories. So yeah, definitely Beth Malone for Fun Home. That's who I want to win. Who I think might win, though, who is probably going to win, is probably going to be Kristin Chenoweth for On the 20th Century. I definitely think that's going to happen, but Beth Malone definitely should win. So Best Revival of a Musical, we actually don't have a lot. We usually have 4, but we have 3 this year. We have The King and I, On the Town, and On the 20th Century. I'll be really pissed if On the 20th Century wins. I've heard that's the front runner. I personally don't really like that show. I think it has some really good music. I think it has really good performances. But it has a character I can't stand. It's the only show that I really did not like on this list. I truly I truly didn't like. Also, if The Last Ship wins anything, I'm gonna be really pissed off, really. The Last Ship should not be nominated. The only reason it's nominated is because of Sting. That's the only reason. I get that Sting was dedicated. I really do get that, but there is no way that The Last Ship is winning a single thing. I'm sorry. The Last Ship is not winning anything. King and I, all the way for Best Revival. I don't care what you guys say. The King and I, that is by far one of the productions that I want to see on Broadway now. Like, I'm listening to the soundtrack. It doesn't get more perfect than the King and I revival. I mean, again, they just told the story and brought it to a new audience. They didn't change anything. They didn't change the details. They didn't update it for modern times. They just told the story and it worked perfectly. The King and I needs to win this. This is from Lincoln Center, a stage where you can see productions from PBS. Seriously, like, that's how good this show is. The King and I better get it. I love to see it win that. I'd be so happy if the King and I won, and please, nothing else. On the Town is fantastic, it is, but the King and I better win. I'm sorry. It better win. I hope it wins, and if it doesn't win, I'm going to throw my remote at the TV, and I'm going to be really pissed. So, we'll see what happens there. I really hope it does win, and please win. I heard most people say on the 20th century, but the King and I, please win. Please, King and I, it better win. Please. It's honestly the definition of a perfect cast recording. There are some cast recordings this year that are really good. The King and I cast recording is literally perfect. It really is. I personally like it more than the original. That's how much I love it. So, Best Revival of Play, we have The Elephant Man, Skylight. This is our youth and you can't take it with you. Now, I've heard most people say The Elephant Man should win this, and I think it definitely should. I mean, look at Bradley Cooper's transformation. Look at the, designs for that. I think definitely The Elephant Man has a very good chance of winning, but I also heard You Can't Take It With You has a very good chance of winning this. Honestly, again, for plays, pretty much the eye of the beholder. I can't really say too much about it, because I obviously didn't see these shows. But if you guys, whoever you want to win, that's cool. Whoever you want to win, I think that's really cool, and that's really cool. So that's really cool. So whoever you want to win, definitely I think that's great. And yeah, so that's really how I feel about that one. And then we're going to talk about the last category for last, but first, Best Play. These are the last two categories. Best Play, we have The Curious Incident, Dog in the Nighttime, Disgraced, Hand of God, Wolf Hall, and Wolf Hall Parts 1 and 2. Now, I told you guys my long explanation for The Curious Incident, Dog in the Nighttime was coming, and here is why I think this should win pretty much everything it's nominated for. This is a show. This is a play, okay? Plays do not last as long as musicals. They usually only last for a couple months. That's usually how long plays last. I mean, musicals, they have a lot more time. A lot more people want to see them. Plays are not as popular. I mean, they're good, but they're just not as popular. They're pretty much just like seeing a movie. That's really what plays are. Musicals are just like escapism. While plays are like that as well, The Curious Incident, Dog in the Nighttime started in the fall. It's still running today. That is unheard of, and that is incredible that it's still running today. And I think that's awesome that it's still running today. Plus the fact that this show has dancing and it has such an interesting premise, and it needs to win. I heard it's one of the most perfect shows on Broadway. Not just musicals, but plays as well. It better win. I'd love to see it win. Hand of God, I really think the idea is really cool. But Curious Incident, Dog in the Nighttime, it's going to win. I'm going to say that right now. It's going to win, and it's going to win. It's that simple. It's really going to win. So I definitely think that Curious Dog in the Incident, Curious Dog in the Incident of the I can't even say it. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Dead of the Night, of the Dog in the Nighttime is gonna win. I think definitely that's what's gonna win there. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that one's a lock in. And then finally we get to the big category, which is Best Musical. And you guys know obviously what I want. An American in Paris, Fun Home, Something Rotten in the Visit, Fun Home, Fun Home, Fun Home, Fun Home all the way. I'm sorry, there is not a single soundtrack here that was effective as Fun Home. I listened to that soundtrack. I still get teary-eyed at Edges of the World. I still get teary-eyed at Rings of Keys. I still get teary-eyed at these songs. And these are songs! Okay, these are songs. I'm getting teary-eyed at them. And I listened to these amazing performances, these actors giving it their all, this story that they clearly knew what they were doing. There's that one point in the show where I feel like they didn't know what they were doing. No, they knew what they were doing the whole time. They know what story they're telling. They know how controversial this is. This is a new kind of theater. Everyone has said this is a new kind of theater. It's the first show about an openly gay lesbian, which I don't think we've ever had a show like that, and I think that's awesome that they did that. Main character, at least. Of course, we did have If Then with the, second character being lesbian, but that's different. This is a main character. It's what drives the story. It's also about family. It's also about the power of family and how over the years, you just start to think about things your family has told you and how that carries with you. And grieving and seeing things through grown-up eyes and just showing the transition of Allison from this small little girl who is being physically and emotionally abused by her father to this strong woman who understands why her father did what he did but also feels very guilty and eventually finds escapism by just telling the story and finally finds closure. And I think that's perfect for Fun Home. I've heard people saying American in Paris should win. Fuck that. In American in Paris, okay, do not win, please. I'm sorry. What does American in Paris have? It has a good story, it has good songs, it has a good story. Who cares, honestly? So many shows have a good songs and a good story. Fun Home has an emotional impact. Fun Home has stuff that I don't think any other show on Broadway has. It makes you feel emotional, and it's not just like Broadway emotional. It feels real. I mean, it's a real story. It's the only show on this list, may I add, that is a true story. It really is. It is a true story. It actually happened, and that is why Fun Home needs to win. I don't care what you guys say. Fun Home, Fun Home, Fun Home all the way. I don't care what if it does not win, I am gonna be, you guys don't want to know what I'm gonna do if Fun Home doesn't win. I'm going to be so pissed if an American in Paris wins. American in Paris is a great show. It is. But there are so many shows on Broadway that has amazing dancing and amazing singing, and it doesn't have the story and the emotional impact that Fun Home has. And I think that really, again, I can't relate to a single thing in Fun Home. Not a single thing. Except for when the little girl was picturing her parents arguing, you know, when Allison's picturing her parents arguing and she just thinks of something different. I'm pretty sure that's what all kids do when their parents argue. They just think of something happy. That's really the only thing I can relate to in Fun Home. Other than that, I can't relate to a single thing, and I think it's awesome. Definitely. It's awesome I can't relate to a single thing, and yet I feel so emotionally attached to these characters, and I absolutely love that. So overall, guys, that's personally what I think should happen for the Tony Awards. Just please, Fun Home. I really would love to see Fun Home win a ton of shit. I'd love to see it happen. I also, something wrong, the nominations I said it should get, it definitely should get. It's going to be a really tight race, though, because, again, there are categories where there's the same show nominated in the same category. So who knows what's going to happen there. They could split the vote. Maybe it'll be a tie. I kind of see some ties happening tomorrow night. I definitely see that happening. I think there might be some ties. I think there are definitely going to be some surprises. There are always some upsets at the Tony Awards. There seem to definitely be, especially as of late, there are definitely, these past few years, there have been some upsets. I can't think of any off of hand, but there definitely have been upsets. And I don't really know what the upset's going to be this year, but I definitely see some upsets happening. Maybe something Ron's going to take a lot more than we think. An American in Paris might take a lot more. The Visit, I don't think is getting anything. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think The Visit's going to get anything. I've heard it's a great show, but I really don't think it's, I think it's going to be that show that doesn't get anything. But let's see, we'll see what happens. That's basically this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think is going to happen tomorrow night. I'd love to hear your predictions. I will leave the full list down below for all the nominations. You guys can check them out there. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for another classic movie review. And I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.